and welcome back to another new edition of Windows and Current Affairs. And today is a very special day where we are going to look over one of the most important meetings that took place during this week. The Grand Imam of Al-Azhar to Kazakhstan, in particular in Astana, where there was the meeting or the religious leaders congress that took place upon an invitation by the Kazakh President Nur Sultan Nazarbayev, who invited the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar to the 6th Congress of the Leaders of the World. This is the biggest and the most important meeting in the world, where clerics, politicians, thinkers, scholars and organizations, they all gather together to have a dialogue of all religions, of all ideas, and for all ideologists, only the constructive ones, not the destructive, and also to correct the wrong ones, to verse or to stand up to the wrong ideologies, to the wrong claims or the wrong statements that are given falsely under the name of Islam. Of course, the Al-Azhar is a very important front on which scholars would be able to, or the people in charge of Al-Azhar would be able to defend Islam and to stand up to the whole world and address them on behalf of Islam, because this is the only organization or the only institution that you can understand the right rulings of Islam. Today we're going to be shedding light over that important Congress, and we're very delighted to be having with us Dr. Saeed Kishk, is an Islamic researcher, and of course Dr. Ibrahim Ashour, he's an Azhar scholar. You're very welcome. Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to Windows and Current Affairs. And of course, it's a great opportunity to have you here with your knowledge and your studies and your researches over in many fronts in Islam, to be able to shed light on that important meeting. So let me start off by you, Dr. Ashour. Of course, this visit comes in a response to an invitation by the Kazakh President Nur Sultan Nazarbayev for the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib. Of course, if you like to shed light over the importance of the participation of the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar in that particular conference.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me. It's always my pleasure. I begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the world, and I send peace and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad, the last messenger and prophet. And we too believe in all prophets and messengers, beginning with the Prophet Adam, through Abraham, Noah, Moses, Jesus, and the last prophet and messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his family, companions, and all those who follow him to the day of resurrection. Of course, as you just saying now, the participation of the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed Tayyib, is very, very important, and this is expressed by the ambassador of Kazakhstan, I think last week, when he invited officially the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Dr. Ahmed Tayyib, to be present there in the Religious Leaders Congress, which is held in this week, to clarify so many issues actually, and the aim of this meeting or congress, which which has so many different ideologies, is to identify so many identification or definitions, like the coexistence, like peace, like mercy, and all of this are the foundations that Islam is founded 14 more than 14 centuries ago. If we focus on one of the principles or one of the foundations for which this Congress is held, how Islam looks at the humanity at large, we can say that Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in chapter Al-Hujurat, in verse number 13, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَى وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِندَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُم, which means, O mankind, we have created you from a male and female, and we have made you into peoples and tribes, that you may get to know one another. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us into peoples and tribes to facilitate for us in the relationship between each other. if we are or we have different nationalities, different languages, this is a reason for us to get to know one another and to deliver the truth that we have as Muslims to all over the world, and to also to exchange the mutual civilization and so on and so forth. So also Islam, so many people think that Islam looks down to people who are non-Muslims. And this is something that is out from the foundations of Islam, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَفَضَّلْنَاهُمْ عَلَى كَثِيرٍ مِمَّنْ خَلَقْنَا تَفْضِيلًا, which roughly means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we have honored Bani Adam, the children of Adam, not only Muslims but all humanity. We have honored the children of Adam, and we have carried them on the land and the sea, and we have provided them with all different types of good things, and we preferred them over much of we have created. So Islam sees all humanity as an honorable creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he looks at them as the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has preferred them over much of what he has created subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right. Dr. Kishke, this Congress is considered the biggest dialogue platform throughout the whole world, where clerics and politicians and sheikhs and Azhar scholars and other religious scholars meet to discuss a broad range of issues connected with religion and politics and ideologies and facts around the world. I mean, there are many, many topics that are supposed to be taken seriously by those people in order to put many events in order throughout the whole world. I mean, wrongdoings under the name of Islam and under the name of any ideology. If you like to shed some light over this.
Fascinating. Praise to Allah, alhamdulillah, alladhi ja'alana muslimin. And Allah has made us one of the ummatan wasata, a moderate ummah. Praise be to Allah and the Prophet Muhammad, his family, his companions, and upon all past prophets. لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. And upon our audience, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Such conferences that the Grand Imam always used to do it annual or time to time, just to make sure for the whole world that Islam as a religion is a religion of peace, is a religion of coexistence, to shed the light that we are totally away from extremisms, to just try to put an end to such disputes that are all over the world is nowadays, to let people live in a coherence, in a harmony, and a peace, to let people know that Islam calling and what Islam calls for all peoples to be live in peace all the time. One of the point that is always shed the light on, which is coexistence, as Dr. just say, as it has been founded long time ago, just Dr. say 14th centuries ago, when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, migrated from Mecca to Medina, and he established the first constitutional principles for all over the world. It was the first constitutions between to coexist in peace and harmony between Muslims and Jews. Thereafter establishing the mosque of Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara. And by the way, that mosque, which is Al-Masjid Al-Nabawi in Medina, Najran, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, allowed the Christians of Najran to pray inside of that mosque. And later on, that constitution or that constitutional principles has been laid on, which nowadays people are being guided for to put a large constitutions for big countries. One of the most important principles in that constitution that the Prophet established between Muslims and non-Muslims after migrated from Mecca to Medina was that both of them share the responsibility of defense the country. Both of them, all of people of residents of Medina, they are free to adhere to whatever they need. As been written down in that constitution, no compulsion in religion. Anyone wanted to adhere to Islam, it's up to him, and anyone who allowed to adhere to any religion, it's up to him. So that points that the Grand Imam wants to, from time to time, to shed the light on It has been constituted from a long time ago, since the Prophet Muhammad has been migrated. And one of the best quotations that the Grand Imam used to say that without Christianity, I mean, he just shed the light on what An-Najashi did for Muslims, who, when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, asked Muslims to migrate from Mecca to Medina to live under the protection and under the rule of An-Najashi, because he said that La yazlim ahada. He was very well known that he's a fair king. And when Muslims went to Abyssinia or Al-Habasha, went there, they were so free to practice their religions. So the Grand Imam said a good quotation. He says that without the Christianity, because the Christianity provides the first protections for Islam, while we are the beginning, without the protections of An-Najashi for the first early followers of Islam, Islam would have been destroyed. So he would like to say that how Muslims in the very beginning coexist with Christians and coexist with the Jews and live in a peace and a harmony, and how Islam always calls for peace and for living in a peace with, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used to say that لا ينهاكم الله على الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين أو يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم. And as the doctor just said that الخلق كلهم عيال الله, that as has been mentioned in Hadith, simply say that all creatures are the family of Allah, are the kids of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in that hadith, the Prophet Muhammad says that the most beloved one to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best one who treated his creatures kindly, in a kind way. Moreover, what's more, that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, says that he just wanted to say that man other than me, or whoever harm one of the people of the book, فقد حرم الله عليه الجنة, the paradise, according to the teachings of Islam and according to the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, anyone who harm one of the people of the book, their neighbors, for example, he will not be into the paradise. That is one of the main point that the conference of the Grand Imam Al-Azhar wanted to let all the world know that Islam means peace, and to just refute the misconceptions that is all over the time, or all people claim, and all people that just they raise it again as Islam, that Islam is a violent religion, that the Prophet Muhammad called for violence. That is totally misconception. That is what Al-Azhar tried to refute in front of all the world, with all evidences through the history. Even if we came back to the history, as we just say that living with a Najashi, or under the rule of Christianity, or living Christianity with Muslims, and they totally free to practice their religions, and even they prayed in the mosque of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, while they are Christians. And even after An-Najashi died, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, asked the believers, Imam was قُومُوا فَصَلُّوا, it has been narrated in some narrations that the Prophet Muhammad asked Muslims to pray the funeral prayers upon An-Najashi. Even they said that he's a Christian. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed a verse that وَإِنَّ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ وَإِنَّ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَمَن يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْهِ وَمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكُمْ.
That's a very important verse.
A verse revealed.
I want you to emphasize. I want you to emphasize on this particular one, because not so many people who are not in Islam, are not converting into Islam, or believing in other religions, know that particular point about Islam and about the teachings of Islam and about the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad. If you would like to focus on this part,
a verse,
please repeat that verse again.
وَإِنَّ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَمَن يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكُمْ وَمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْهِمْ خَاشِعِينَ لِلَّهِ لَا يَشْتَرُونَ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed a verse in the Holy Quran to refute for some people who just try to say that, the Prophet Muhammad just praying upon the disbelievers. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us...
You can never judge anyone.
Exactly, that is the point is behind Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when he just said that he used to pray in other directions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبُ. Allah revealed another verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had the directions of فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I also would like to add something on what he said. Al-Najashi, the king of Abyssinia,
Yep.
the most authentic opinion over him that he accepted Islam, with reference of the verse
ayah
that
of
you
the verse.
just recited.
Exactly.
And also I'd like to focus on something very, very important, by the way, connected to what Brother Dr. Saeed said about Egypt, the coexistence in Egypt. The Prophet ﷺ, one of the prophecies of the Prophet ﷺ, that he gave us glad tidings, gave his companions glad tidings about Egypt. He said, إنكم ستفتحون مصر وهي بلد يسمى فيها القراط فإذا فتحتموها فاستوصوا بأهلها خيرا فإن لكم فيها ذمة وصهرة أو ذمة ورحمة, meaning that you will enter Egypt. You will. He's addressing his companions. The Prophet said to his companions, you will open and take over Egypt, and if you take over Egypt soon, I recommend you to treat its people well, because you have a relationship with them, you have blood ties with them. How come we have blood ties?
You were talking about the Copts.
Yes, the Egyptians, because the Hajar, the mother of Ishmael, and Ishmael, the father of the Arabs and the father of the Prophet ﷺ. His mother is Hajar, and Hajar from Egypt. And also the Prophet ﷺ had a right-hand servant, which is who is Maria al-Qibtiyya, and he had a children, Ibrahim, from Maria al-Qibtiyya, and she's from Egypt originally. That's why the Prophet ﷺ recommended us.
And Maria was a Copt.
Yes,
so
of course.
That's very important.
Very, very important. That's why the Prophet ﷺ recommended his companions, if you enter and take over Egypt, treat its people well, because you have relationship with its people. Because the Hajar and Maria al-Qibtiyya, the right-hand servant of the Prophet ﷺ. Look how the Prophet ﷺ, founded the foundations of coexistence and peaceful relationship between Muslims and non-Muslims. And this refutes all the fallacies that the Western people have in their minds, that Islam is the religion of terrorism, the religion of harshness, and so on and so forth. Let them read and ask the history, the history, and ask those those who have good knowledge about Islam, not to hear about Islam, but they have to hear from Muslims themselves, from Islam itself. This is how they should to act according or towards Islam, to know Islam better.
Thanks to the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
They have to take from the teachings of the Prophet
the authentic, reliable sources.
Yes.
That is. I just want to add something, even for respecting. I mean, not only to exist, respecting as a human being. The Grand Imam used to say that.
Respecting of humanity.
Speaking of humanity,
other faith,
the Prophet
other
Muhammad said very good examples in that when a funeral passed by him, and he stood up. He was Jewish. So the Prophet, the companion of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Oh, the Prophet Muhammad, he's Jewish." So he said that, he said a sentence which is a really set foundations for respecting and mutual respect for a human being, regardless of his religions, the Muslims. He said, "Alaysat nafsan," isn't a soul, regardless of being a Jew or a Judaism or a Muslim. He's a human being. And the Grand Imam used to say that the human being, generally, either he's your brother in religion,
it's a very important.
I
totally agree. It's a very important phrase by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, because it led it all the way to also of the conception of if this is alaysat nafs, or if this isn't it a soul.
A soul. Yes.
So souls are sacred. We're not supposed to take a soul without the permission of God, regardless of their religion or their beliefs or the way they dress, how they think, and everything. So this all falls under alaysat nafsan.
So Prophet Muhammad even says
that wraps up the whole idea, which is the soul the soul is a sacred one, and you should respect it and leave it to Allah to judge it.
If it is after death,
even
it was a funeral. You know what I mean? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, says that Man adha ummiyan, dhimmiyan. So he's talking about the people of the park. Aw intaqasahu, which is take something by him without his permissions. فأنا حجيجه يوم القيامة. So how could you describe the Prophet of Islam that he's gonna support one of the people of the park against a Muslim if a Muslim takes something from him in this world without the permissions? So that is Islam, and that is what is the Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him used to teach us.
It's very
and that's what is the
simple.
Quran used to say that.
Simple and generous at the same time.
Yep.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Grand Imam of Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Taib, participation in the event. Of course, it's an opportunity to enhance understanding the noble teachings that we are talking, that Dr. Kishk is talking about or have elaborated on, of Islam and the values and of the peaceful coexistence and tolerance. He gave us a small bit of these teachings, which is, or he gave us the cream of these teachings, I mean the foundation of these teachings. How important is it for the Grand Imam of one of the biggest and the most important institutions of the world to participate in such a congress, in such a meeting where debates could be so powerful and could be so effective and could be it could take place to change things around the world? If you like to talk about it.
Actually, the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Dr. Ahmed Tayyib, today he had a speech in front of the this Congress, the Religious Leaders Congress, and he dealt with so many points in brief, actually. But actually, his notes were so wonderful. He talked about so many things. First of all, he said in 19th century, the racism is all over the Western countries, and the white people used to, persecute the others, and they look down to the black people, and they see that the black people are in a gender like under them, and they have to, the black people have to serve the white people.
Yep.
Yes, of course. And this was in the 19th century. He said in the next century, which is the last century, we had glad tidings that inshallah we will have good century, but we woke up on so many catastrophes in that centuries, like the two world wars, and the two world wars they left more than 70 million victims all over the world, from children, from women, from the innocent people. So all of them, who ignited all these wars in the last centuries? Of course, non-Muslims. Of course.
And the solution in one hadith of the Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him said that no superiority.
Yes.
No superiority of Arabs over non-Arabs. No superiority of white over black. No superiority
over white.
Yes. Which is Allah's fearing. As the verse that the doctor just said in the beginning, that وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. So
he did not say that the best is whoever could be his religion is, or the best is the Muslim or the Copt or the Jewish.
Yep, regardless of the religion.
Fear Allah. No superiority for anyone over the other one except with piety,
by his deeds
or righteousness. Yes. And also the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar continued, and he said, okay, the 19th century over, and the last century is over, and also this century, when we began this century, we wake up on something that is funny actually, because now we had another type of harshness, which is terrorism. And soon terrorism is attached to Muslims, and the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar is wondering why terrorism is attached to Muslims. Why is not attached to Christianity or Judaism? He said, who killed millions of people in Bosnia and Herzegovina? Who in the 90s of the last century? The Christians. And nobody said Christianity is the religion of terrorism. Nobody talked about this. Why, when some Muslims are doing bad things, they are calling Islam?
Are they Muslims? Are they Muslims?
By name.
Are they Muslims?
Okay,
they're not real Muslims. There are some Europeans amongst them.
Yes.
They do not even know Al-Fatiha.
He talked about this, by the way. Also, let me differentiate between two things.
They're mercenaries.
Islam and Muslims.
They are paid mercenaries. They do that for money.
Yes. Later
they're financed.
Talk about this. Islam is perfect because it's from Allah. But Muslims are not perfect because we're human beings. Sometimes we do good, sometimes we do bad. We are not angels.
Of
to
course.
do all the time the good actions and righteous actions.
Black sheep
So-
are everywhere. Black sheep in Islam, black sheep in Christianity, black sheep in Judaism. But that doesn't give you the right, or anyone doesn't give the right to anyone to judge. For example, Muslims by a specific group who call themselves as Muslims under the name of religion. They just claim they are Muslims. They are
Even-
not aware of totally from Islam.
Claim, yes,
Who
I like the word
logically
claim.
believe that Daesh is Islam. They are totally destroyed Islam. They are totally away from Islam. But they claim they are Muslims. So how could the whole world judge Islam by such
Through
group
a
of
small
people
group
who
of
claim
people,
they are
yes.
Muslims? They are totally away from
But
Islam.
I think we have come a long way beyond discussing this particular issue ever since the terrorist organization of
Yep.
the Brotherhood, because we have came to a definition that Daesh is some militias. They are militant groups. The Nusra Front are militant groups. Some other countries call them moderate opposition or whatever. I mean, they're giving them some definitions according to their political interests. Among these definitions is a definition of Muslims, but it's not reality. They are not Muslims because
In
look at
reality,
you,
they are.
you are the certified Islamic researchers and Azhar scholars, and you are relating the real teachings of Islam and the real verses and the sayings of Prophet Muhammad and al-Sirah of Prophet Muhammad and his biography. It is totally the opposite of what they say and what they recite
And what they're
when they
doing.
behead people or when they handle situations in Iraq or in Syria or whatever.
Yes, from where this came from. Sometimes it
Please.
came from out of ignorance because they don't know. They
Or
they
out of
say,
politics.
Is it something? Yes,
A political
this is
game
the second one.
sometimes.
Sometimes some group of people understand the evidences from the Quran or the Sunnah in a wrong way. Why? Sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. Intentionally to meet the interests, whether it's political interests
Or
or
economic
desires or economic or, and sometimes they understand the evidences from the Quran or Sunnah wrong or mistakenly, unintentionally because of ignorance. In both cases, we have to go back to the official institutes
people,
to know
the official,
what's right and what's
scholars.
wrong. Yes.
What's
we have to
more,
focus on this.
they sometimes cut
Yes,
And
the
paste.
evidences. To take
Yeah,
it out of
sometimes
its
They
context.
cut and paste.
for their own interest.
Yes.
To just think that they know that it's a political game, as you just say sometimes.
Sometimes they even fake it. They fake some hadiths
Yeah,
which are not even
yeah.
taken by
even there
Prophet
are some
Muhammad,
hadiths
peace be
which is
upon him.
not authentic at all.
Right.
But misinterpreting the Holy Quran, misinterpreting a verse is really a problem that people they are manipulate, and they are really rely on that just to try to attract.
And this is where
lot
we
of
see the
people
role
around.
of Al-Azhar and his
Yep.
scholars and the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar and all those in charge of that great institution. Of course, this Congress seeks at promoting the global dialogue that we're talking about among religions, among cultures. It also deepens strengthening the mutual understanding and respect that you talked about to different religions. How is it doing that? I mean, how are meetings or gathering like that are deepening these values? I mean, if we are gathered today, the four of us, and exchanging views, and you're giving us the right definition about certain rulings and teachings in Islam, this is a good opportunity for us to show
course, yes.
the foreigners or the viewers who are not Muslims about the reality of Islam. I mean, what would you say about a bigger gathering, an international gathering, the only one of its own right amongst the whole world, that gathers people from all walks of life in Kazakhstan that were invited upon the invitation by the president? How important is it? Explain to us, how is it supposed to effect real change?
So vital and indispensable actually for nowadays particularly, but because it's not only a simple gathering, it's a gathering by leaders of the world, particularly by religious and traditional religions. So those people are setting a good example and model, and people see them as examples for all religions. So as a defined religions, when we talk about the religious leaders, we talk about the defined religions, whether it's Christianity or Islam or Judaism. So once people saw them that they are calling for living in a peace and harmony, of course, is going to be very important. And that gathering, that meetings, it makes stress or on some principles point that is for coexistence, which is always stress on that, which is inviting people or inviting all people to live in harmony in a beautiful way, in a logical disputes, and as the Quran always used to let us know that. So what does the grand Imam do? They are trying to seize the opportunity to invite people for Islam in a logical way, to let know what about the history, to let know what is the real Islam.
It's normal that you advertise for your cause the best way you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Consider Islam. I mean, of course, it's not the right comparison, but if you could consider Islam a product or something that you're promoting for, you should be promoting it with the totally different, the best way that you can.
Nowadays,
nobody says that you can promote for an idea or for an ideology in a scary way or in a terrorist way. Nobody would ever love it. I mean, it doesn't even make sense.
So only promoting, it's a way of showing the people the real image of Islam, which is that has been defamed, and has been a lot of people, the misconception all over the world every day. And day from day there is a lot of misconception raised against Islam, particularly against Islam. That's why we are trying to just let people know what is the real image of moderate Islam that has been revealed upon the Prophet Muhammad according to the true teaching of the Prophet Muhammad and according to the revelation, the revelation of the Holy Quran. So all we need to do is just to let people know what is the real Islam. It is just to to correct the image of Islam that has been defamed for a long time, just to refute the misconception, just to give them an evidence through all the history. History repeats itself. History never tells lies. Coexistence between Muslims and Christianity a long time ago, based on equality regardless of their religions, of race or gender. That is a real, that happens through history. What happening, of course, if you just go back during the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, his servant was a Jewish. I mean, the Jewish boy was a Jewish. He imagined that he's the Prophet of Islam, and he allowed a Jewish boy to work with him and deal with him. Imagine that the Prophet of Islam to let know that أنا حجيجه يوم القيامة, whoever treats the people of the book in a bad way, أنا حجيجه يوم القيامة, I will be against him. Imagine when the verse of the Holy Quran, when it's revealed, I don't want to say against, but إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الْقُرْآنَ لِتَحْكُمَ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. You know when it's revealed? It revealed when a man stole a dirham from someone, and he bought it with a Jewish.
He stole?
A dirham or a sword or a tool you use it for battle.
A sword.
Exactly, a shield to protect him.
A shield.
And he bought it with a Jewish man. And the owner knew that that person, Tama, has been stolen. He's a Muslim. He's from Al-Azhar. He's from people, residents of Mecca. So that man complained to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, but Tama denied. He didn't do that because he has nothing. He has bought, it was Jewish. And when the owner saw it was a Jewish man, he complained him to the Prophet Muhammad, and he said that daf'aha ilayya Tama, so Tama, give it to me, it's not mine. So the family of Tama came to the Prophet Muhammad asking him to support Tama because he's from Ansar, because he's Muslims, again he's Jewish. And the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that is to punish the Jewish, is to cut his hand. And a verse revealed upon the Prophet Muhammad, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الْقُرْآنَ لِتَحْكُمَ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ.
Yeah, كتاب
إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ لِتَحْكُمَ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. Allah has been revealed the book, the Holy Quran, upon you, the Prophet Muhammad, to judge among people with a right. Even Muslims or not Muslims, regardless.
In an even way.
That is revolutions. I mean, that verses that has been revealed in the Holy Quran, not even to support a Muslims, to support a person from the people of the book. The Holy Quran always says, كل أهل الكتاب تعالوا إلى كلمة سواء بيننا. Common word between us. That's, there is a lot of the same values.
Exactly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Al-Ma'idah, وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَآنُ قَوْمٍ عَلَى أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا اعْدِلُوا وَأَقْرَبُ للتقوى. Do not let the enmity between you and your enemies to be unjust towards them.
If you could please, because this is the top of all good values and the cream of values. So you can please repeat this, please, again.
Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, if you have an enmity between you and others, do not make this enmity make you, be unjust towards them.
If you have an enmity with a person,
exactly.
Even if you have the upper hand, it doesn't give you any reason before God to be unjust or unfair to that person just because you have the upper hand.
Islam is the religion of
It has
justice.
nothing to do with Islam.
I remember now.
It's a very important point here. ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. So Allah give us a direct order, and that ayah of that verse revealed upon the believers before they migrated from Mecca to Medina. They had been tortured and punished in Mecca for 13 years, and some of the believers wanted to just take a revenge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have been persecuted, they have been treated unfairly, and some of them did just to respond. I mean, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, idfa' billati hi ahsan, which is respond to what is evil, with what is better, and your enemy surely will be your close friend.
Yes.
So that is what has been revealed. And after the migration of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, from Mecca to Medina, and he came with authority, with power, because they have been driven him away from Mecca. And he went to Najashi, to Medina, and he established the Muslim state there. When he came back with authority, with power, and he looked all in front of the leaders of Mecca, in front of him, who has been tortured and punished, the Muslims at the beginning. So they told him, or he asked them, what do you think I'm going to do with you?
After he opened Mecca.
After he opened Mecca, exactly. After he came back to Mecca with power.
I just remember this.
He said that, Akhun Karim, you are brothers. And so the Prophet Muhammad told him that, go. Imagine, اذهبوا فأنتم طلقاء.
Yeah, you are free.
You're free.
So he gave them freedom. Yes.
Freedom, tolerance, mercy.
Came back from Medina to
no
Mecca.
Revenge, even in Islam. Islam even not asked to take your revenge for your interest.
Yes.
So
as I remember now a very, very important statement of the one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ is called Rabi ibn Amr. When in the battle of Al-Qadisiyah, when he talked to the enemies of Muslims at that time, he said, جئنا لنخرج العبادة من عبادة العباد إلى عبادة رب العباد. We came here to bring people out from worshiping people like them into worshiping Allah, the Lord of the people. And from the ومن ضيق الدنيا إلى سعة الدنيا والآخرة, and from the tightness of this worldly life into the wideness of the this worldly life and the hereafter. ومن جور الأديان إلى عدل الإسلام. And we came here to bring people out from the injustice of the different religion into the justice of Islam. This is how Islam is.
Very
this
impressive.
Is these are the foundations of Islam that the Prophet ﷺ came and taught us to apply to our daily life.
Right. On that excellent note, unfortunately we ran out of time. I'm going to end it here with you, Dr. Ibrahim Ashour. You're an Azhar scholar. Thank you very much, an Islamic researcher.
Thank you.
Of course, Dr. Said Kishk, an Islamic researcher.
Thank
you very much for
the
beautiful verses that you have just recited over here in this edition of Windows and Current Affairs. And I guess this brings us to the end of this edition. Until we see you next week, that's a goodbye.